The world is full of shiny promises, isn't it? From every corner, from every book and every speaker, we are told to think positively. We are urged to see the bright side, to believe that the power of our thoughts can change our lives, that the universe itself will bend and shape to our will, if only we hold a smile upon our lips and a gleam in our eye. It's a tempting notion, so full of hope and promise. But, my dear friends, it is also one that carries with it a dark and heavy burden, one that I fear is rarely spoken of. Let us, for a moment, step away from the dazzling light of positive thinking and consider what lies in the shadows it casts. We live in an age where we are almost commanded to be happy, to be relentlessly optimistic. But what of the moments when life's troubles pile upon us like a heavy fog, when despair feels like a companion that won't let go? Are we to simply plaster a smile on our faces and pretend it isn't so? Are we to deny the very real pain and suffering that is part of the human experience? In this pursuit of unending positivity, we may find ourselves losing touch with the very essence of what it means to be human. For to be human is not just to rejoice in the good, but to wrestle with the bad. It is to face trials and tribulations, to encounter sorrow, to feel the weight of the world at times pressing down upon our shoulders. And it is in these moments of struggle, that our true character is forged. The gospel of positive thinking might lead one to believe that all that is required to escape the valleys of life is a change in perspective. Yet, consider for a moment, you will, the man who has lost his livelihood, the mother who has lost a child, the soldier who has lost his comrades in the heat of battle. Is it enough to tell these souls to simply think positively? Does such advice not seem, in the cold light of reality, almost cruel? There is a danger, you see, in assuming that our thoughts alone have the power to change the world. The danger lies in the subtle suggestion that those who suffer do so because they have not thought the right thoughts, that they have failed in some way to summon the power of positive thinking. But suffering is not always the result of a lack of effort or imagination. It is often simply a part of life, a part of the human condition that we must face and endure. To embrace the full breadth of life, we must also embrace the darker moments, the moments of pain, of doubt, of fear. These moments are not to be shunned or ignored, but acknowledged, understood, and, when possible, overcome. They're not an indication of failure, but a testament to our humanity. Let us consider for a moment the life of a great man, a man who has lived through war, who has seen the destruction and the chaos that man can inflict upon man. He does not emerge from such an experience unchanged. No amount of positive thinking can erase the memories of what he has seen, the comrades he has lost, the lives that have been shattered. He carries these experiences with him, and they shape who he is. Yet, it is precisely these experiences that give him the strength, the wisdom, and the compassion that others might lack. Now, some might say that to dwell on such thoughts is to invite negativity, that it is to indulge in the very thing we are trying to avoid. But I would argue the opposite. To face the darkness, to confront it head-on, is to gain a deeper understanding of oneself and the world. And it is to gain a strength that is not easily shaken, a resilience that cannot be easily broken. When we refuse to acknowledge the darker side of life, we do ourselves a disservice. We rob ourselves of the opportunity to grow, to learn, to become stronger. We create a world where only the positive is valued. And in doing so, we diminish our ability to cope with the inevitable hardships that life will bring. The proponents of positive thinking would have us believe that our thoughts alone can create our reality. They would have us believe that by simply focusing on the good, we can banish the bad. But this is a dangerous illusion. It suggests that we have more control over the world than they actually do, and it places an undue burden on those who are suffering. It suggests that their suffering is somehow their own fault, that if only they had thought differently, they could have avoided their pain. But the world is not so simple. Life is not so easily controlled. There are forces beyond our understanding, beyond our control, that shape our lives in ways we cannot always predict or comprehend. To believe otherwise is to invite disappointment, frustration, and even despair when things do not go as we had hoped. Positive thinking, when taken to an extreme, can become a form of denial. It can become a way of avoiding the difficult truths. of refusing to face the realities of life. It can lead to a kind of superficial happiness that is easily shattered when the inevitable challenges of life arrive. Moreover, it can create a culture where only the positive is valued, where only success is celebrated, and where those who struggle are seen as failures. This is not a culture that fosters true growth or understanding. It is not a culture that encourages us to face our challenges and learn from them. Instead, it is a culture that encourages us to ignore our difficulties, to sweep them under the rug, and to pretend that everything is fine even when it is not. But life is not always fine. There are times when we will face challenges that seem insurmountable, when we will encounter pain and suffering that cannot be easily dismissed. And it is in these times that we must find the strength to endure, the courage to face our difficulties head on, and the wisdom to learn from them. True strength does not come from ignoring our challenges or pretending they do not exist. It comes from facing them, from acknowledging them, and from finding a way to overcome them. It comes from understanding that life is not always easy, that there will be times of darkness as well as times of light, and that both are an essential part of the human experience. To be truly strong, we must be willing to face the full range of human emotions, not just the positive ones. We must be willing to feel sadness, to experience loss, to confront our fears and our doubts. We must be willing to endure hardship, to struggle, and to fight for what we believe in. This is not a message that is often heard in the world of positive thinking, but it is one that is essential if we are to live fully and authentically. For to live a full life is to experience all that life has to offer, both the good and the bad. It is to embrace the joys and the sorrows, the triumphs and the defeats, the light and the darkness. It is not our ability to think positively that will determine our success or our happiness. It is our ability to face reality, to confront the challenges that life presents, and to find a way to overcome them. It is our ability to endure, to persevere, and to keep moving forward even when the road is difficult and the outcome uncertain. This is not an easy path, but it is a path that leads to true growth and true understanding. It is a path that leads to a deeper connection with us and with the world around us. It is a path that leads to true strength, true wisdom, and true happiness. So let us not be seduced by the false promises of positive thinking. Let us not be fooled into believing that we can control our lives simply by changing our thoughts. Instead, let us face life as it is, with all its challenges and difficulties, and find the strength within ourselves to endure and to overcome. Let us embrace the full range of human experience, both the light and the dark, and let us find meaning and purpose in all that we encounter. Let us find the courage to face our challenges, the wisdom to learn from them, and the strength to keep moving forward, no matter what life may bring. For it is in this journey, in this struggle, that we will find true fulfillment, true happiness, and true peace. And it is in this journey that we will discover the true meaning of life and the true depth of our own humanity. Now, let us delve deeper into the heart of this matter. The allure of positive thinking is not just in its simplicity, but in its promise of control. It suggests that by harnessing the power of our minds, we can shape the world to our will, that we can bend the forces of the universe to serve our desires. But this is a dangerous illusion, one that can lead to a profound sense of failure and despair when reality does not conform to our expectations. Consider, if you will, the story of a young man filled with dreams and ambitions, convinced that his positive outlook will carry him to the heights of success. He visualizes his goals. He repeats affirmations. He surrounds himself with others who share his optimism. But life, as it often does, throws obstacles in his path. He encounters setbacks, failures, and disappointments. Despite his best efforts, things do not go as planned. Now, if this young man is bought into the belief that positive thinking is the key to success, he may begin to blame himself for his misfortunes. He may believe that his thoughts were not positive enough, that he somehow failed to manifest the reality he desired. This can lead to a cycle of self-doubt, anxiety, and even depression. But the truth is that life is far more complex than the simple equation of thoughts equals reality. There are countless factors beyond our control that influence the course of our lives. Economic conditions, social circumstances, the actions of others, and even random chance all play a role in shaping our destiny. To believe that we can control all these factors through the power of positive thinking is not only unrealistic, but also a burden too heavy to bear. Moreover, this emphasis on positive thinking can create a culture of blame and shame. When we tell people that their thoughts create their reality, we are also implying that their struggles and hardships are their own fault. This can lead to a lack of compassion or understanding for those who are suffering. It can create an environment where people are afraid to express their pain or ask for help, for fear of being judged or criticized. But suffering is not a sign of failure, nor is it something to be ashamed of. It is a part of life, a part of being human, and it is through our suffering that we often find our greatest strength, our deepest wisdom, and our most profound compassion. Consider the story of Job, a man who was tested by unimaginable suffering. He lost everything he held dear, his wealth, his family, his health. Yet through it all, he did not lose his faith. He did not succumb to despair or bitterness. Instead, he questioned. He wrestled with his pain, and in the end, he found a deeper understanding of himself and his relationship with the divine. Job's story is not one of positive thinking, but of perseverance, of faith, and of the search for meaning in the midst of suffering. It is a reminder that life's challenges are not something to be avoided or denied, but something to be faced, endured, and ultimately transcended. In the same vein, we must recognize that our journey through life will not always be smooth. There will be times when we are tested, when we face challenges that seem insurmountable, when we are confronted with pain and suffering that we cannot simply wish away. In these moments, it is not positive thinking that will see us through, but rather our resilience, our courage, and our willingness to confront the reality of our situation. We must also be wary of the pressure that positive thinking can place on us to be constantly happy, constantly optimistic. This pressure can lead to a kind of emotional repression, where we deny our true feelings in order to present a cheerful appearance. But emotions, like all things in life, have their place and their purpose. Anger, sadness, fear. These are not emotions to be feared or suppressed, but to be acknowledged, understood, and processed. There is a danger in believing that negative emotions are inherently bad, that they must be avoided at all costs. For it is often through these emotions that we gain insight into ourselves and our circumstance. It is through our struggles with these emotions that we grow and develop as individuals. Imagine for a moment a life without sadness. It may sound appealing at first, but without sadness, how would we appreciate joy? How would we develop empathy and compassion for others who are suffering? Sadness, like all emotions, serves a purpose. It reminds us of what is important. It helps us to process loss, and it connects us with others in a deep and meaningful way. The same can be said for fear. Fear is not something to be avoided, but something to be understood. It is a natural response to danger, a signal that something is amiss. But it is also an opportunity for growth. By facing our fears, by confronting them head on, we develop courage and resilience. We learn that we are stronger than we think, that we are capable of facing and overcoming the challenges that life presents. It is not about avoiding negative emotions or trying to replace them with positive ones. It is about finding a balance, about embracing the full spectrum of human experience. It is about recognizing that both positive and negative emotions have their place, and that both are necessary for a rich and fulfilling life. This is not to say that we should abandon positive thinking altogether. There is value in maintaining a hopeful outlook, in believing that we have the ability to influence our circumstances and create a better future. But we must also be realistic. We must recognize that there will be times when life does not go as planned, when our best efforts are not enough, and when we must find the strength to endure and move forward even in the face of adversity. We must also be compassionate, both with ourselves and with others. We must recognize that life is difficult, that everyone faces challenges and struggles, and that it is okay to not always be okay. We must create a culture where people feel safe to express their true feelings, where they can seek help and support without fear of judgment or criticism. In this way, we can create a more balanced and realistic approach to life, one that acknowledges the importance of positive thinking, but also recognizes the value of facing and overcoming life's challenges. We can create a world where people are encouraged to be both hopeful and resilient, both optimistic and realistic, both positive and compassionate. And in doing so, we can create a world where true growth, true understanding, and true happiness are possible. A world where we are not afraid to face the darkness, but where we also know that the light is always within reach. Let us then embrace the full spectrum of life with all its joys and sorrows, its triumphs and defeats, its light and its darkness. Let us find strength in our struggles, wisdom in our challenges, and meaning in our journey. And let us remember that it is not the absence of difficulty, but the way we face and overcome it that defines us and shapes our lives. In this way, we can find a deeper and more lasting happiness, one that is not dependent on the fleeting moments of success or the illusion of control, but one that is rooted in the richness of the human experience and the strengths of the human spirit. Let us continue to explore the subtle layers of this intricate subject, for the journey is far from over, and the terrain of our exploration is vast and nuanced. As we traverse deeper into the implications of positive thinking, it becomes apparent that this philosophy, while seemingly benign, can sometimes carry with it the seeds of a profound misunderstanding about the nature of reality and the human condition. Consider the idea of control that positive thinking often implies. The notion that we can shape our destiny simply through the power of our thoughts can be intoxicating. It offers a kind of pseudo-divine power, suggesting that we are the masters of our fate, that by sheer mental willpower we can command the universe to align itself with our desires. Yet this idea, while alluring, is fraught with potential pitfalls. Life, in its complexity, is not something that can be so easily controlled or predicted. The world is full of variables, many of which lie far beyond the reach of human influence. Natural disasters, economic downturns, illnesses, and accidents. These are but a few examples of the unpredictable forces that can alter the course of our lives without warning. To suggest that positive thinking alone can shield us from such realities is not only naive but potentially harmful. Moreover, the belief in the absolute power of positive thinking can lead to a dangerous kind of magical thinking. It can encourage us to neglect practical measures, to avoid taking necessary precautions. By placing too much faith in the power of our thoughts, we may fail to prepare adequately for the challenges that lie ahead. This kind of thinking can also foster a sense of entitlement, a belief that the world owes us something simply because we have adopted a positive mindset. When things do not go as planned, when our efforts are met with failure or setback, the disillusionment can be all the more crushing. We may feel betrayed by the very philosophy we were taught to rely on, leading to a deep sense of bitterness and despair. In contrast, a more balanced and realistic approach acknowledges that while our thoughts and attitudes can indeed influence our actions and responses, they do not grant us absolute control over external events. This approach recognizes the importance of hope and optimism, but it also emphasizes the need for preparation, resilience, and adaptability. It encourages us to take proactive steps to mitigate risks, to plan for contingencies, and to remain flexible in the face of unforeseen challenges. Furthermore, the relentless pursuit of positivity can sometimes lead to a kind of emotional numbness, where we become disconnected from our true feelings. By constantly striving to maintain a positive outlook, we may inadvertently suppress our genuine emotions, pushing them down until they fester and grow into a severe destruction. Emotions are not merely obstacles to be overcome or eliminated. They are an integral part of our humanity, serving as signals that guide us through life. Fear, for instance, can be a valuable indicator that something is amiss, prompting us to take caution and protect ourselves from harm. Similarly, anger can alert us to injustice or mistreatment, motivating us to take action and seek resolution. When we suppress these emotions in favor of a forced positivity, we risk losing touch with these important signals. We may find ourselves enduring situations that are harmful or unjust simply because we are too focused on maintaining a positive outlook to recognize the need for change. This can lead to a kind of passivity where we become resigned to circumstances that should instead be challenged or addressed. Moreover, the suppression of negative emotions can also have detrimental effects on our mental and physical health. Psychologists have long recognized the importance of acknowledging and processing emotions in a healthy way. When we deny our true feelings, we may experience a range of negative outcomes, from increased stress and anxiety to physical ailments such as headaches, stomach issues, and even more serious conditions like heart disease. It is essential, therefore, to allow ourselves the space to feel and express our emotions, rather than trying to force them into a narrow box of positivity. This does not mean wallowing in negativity or becoming consumed by our emotions, but rather finding a healthy balance where we can acknowledge and process our feelings while still maintaining a sense of hope and optimism for the future. Another aspect of positive thinking that merits deeper consideration is its impact on our relationships with others. When we are overly focused on maintaining a positive mindset, we may inadvertently become less empathetic or understanding toward those who are struggling. We might find ourselves offering platitudes or simplistic advice instead of truly listening and offering meaningful support. For instance, when a friend is going through a difficult time, our first instinct might be to encourage them to look on the bright side or think positively. While these sentiments are well-intentioned, they can sometimes come across as dismissive. They may suggest that the person's feelings are not valid, or that they should simply snap out of it rather than allowing them the space to fully experience and process their emotions. In our eagerness to help, we may overlook the importance of simply being present with someone in their pain, of offering a listening ear or a comforting presence without trying to fix or change their feeling. True empathy requires us to meet people where they are, to acknowledge their struggles, and to offer support without judgment or expectation. Furthermore, the emphasis on positivity can create a culture of toxic positivity where negative emotions are stigmatized and people feel pressured to present a facade of happiness even when they are struggling. This can lead to a lack of authenticity in our relationships, where people feel unable to be honest about their true feelings for fear of being judged. In contrast, a more balanced approach to life allows for the full range of human experience, including both the positive and the negative. It encourages us to be open and honest with ourselves and others, to embrace vulnerability, and to build relationships based on trust and understanding rather than superficial positivity. It also allows us to be more compassionate and understanding toward others. When we recognize that life is not always easy, that everyone faces challenges and struggles, we can approach others with greater empathy and kindness. We can offer genuine support and encouragement rather than empty platitudes, and we can build deeper and more meaningful connections with those around us. As we continue to explore the nuances of this topic, it becomes clear that the pursuit of positive thinking, while well-intentioned, can sometimes lead us astray. It can create unrealistic expectations, foster a sense of entitlement, suppress our true emotions, and impact our relationships in ways that are not always positive. But rather than abandoning positivity altogether, we can seek to find a more balanced and realistic approach. We can recognize the value of hope and optimism, while also acknowledging the importance of facing reality, embracing our emotions, and building authentic relationships. In doing so, we can create a life that is not only more fulfilling and meaningful, but also more resilient in the face of the inevitable challenges that life will bring. We can find the strength to endure and overcome, not by denying the difficulties of life, but by facing them with courage, wisdom, and compassion. In continuing our exploration, it's imperative to recognize the intricate dance between positivity and the full spectrum of human emotion. The essence of positive thinking, at its core, is not to deny the realities of life or the challenges that come our way, but rather to find the light within the darkness, to seek hope when despair seems to loom largest. However, this light, this hope, does not exist in isolation. It is intertwined with our experiences, our struggles, and our humanity. Imagine, if you will, the beauty of a sunrise. The dawn does not deny the night. It follows it, The darkness of the night is not a failure of the day, nor is the day a rejection of the night. They are both part of the same cycle, the same rhythm of life. Just as the sunrise holds its beauty because it emerges from the darkness, so too does our hope and positivity gain depth and meaning when it arises from an honest acknowledgement of life's challenges. True positive thinking is not about clinging to optimism in a way that blinds us to reality. It is about cultivating a resilient spirit, one that sees the beauty in the broken, the potential in the pain, and the strength in the struggle. It is about recognizing that positivity is not a shield to ward off the hardships of life, but a tool to help us navigate them with grace and courage. There is a profound beauty in this balanced approach. It allows us to be fully human, to experience the full range of emotions without fear or shame. It permits us to grieve when we have suffered loss, to feel anger when we have been wrong, and to acknowledge our fears when the future seems uncertain. Yet, it also empowers us to find hope in the midst of these experiences, to believe in the possibility of healing, justice, and growth. In this way, positive thinking becomes not an escape from reality, but a way to engage with it more deeply. It invites us to see the potential for transformation in every experience, to find meaning in our suffering, and to believe that even in the darkest moments, there is a possibility for light. Consider for a moment the image of a tree growing in the midst of a rocky landscape. The soil is thin, the conditions are harsh, and yet the tree thrives. Its roots dig deep, finding nourishment in the most unlikely places. Its branches reach toward the sky, embracing the sunlight even as it endures the storms. This tree does not deny the difficulty of its environment. Rather, it adapts, it perseveres, and in doing so, it becomes stronger, more resilient. We too are like this tree. Our lives may not always be easy, and we may face challenges that seem insurmountable, but it is precisely in these moments that we have the opportunity to grow, to dig deep within ourselves and find the strength we did not know we possessed. Positive thinking, when understood in its true form, encourages us to believe in this potential for growth, to trust that even in the hardest of circumstances, we have the capacity to not just survive, but to thrive. This is not to say that the journey is always straightforward or that the outcome is always guaranteed. There will be times when we stumble, when the weight of our struggles feels too heavy to bear. There will be moments when our faith in ourselves, in others, and even in the future is tested. But it is in these very moments that the power of positive thinking, rooted in reality and tempered with humility, reveals its true strength. For positivity, at its most beautiful and impactful, is not about certainty or control. It is about faith. Faith in the process, in the journey, and in our ability to find meaning and purpose along the way. It is about embracing the unknown, the uncertain, and the imperfect, and finding beauty in the journey itself, rather than any promised destination. And so, we come to a deeper understanding of what it means to live with positivity. It is not about denying the shadows or pretending that they do not exist. It is about standing in the midst of those shadows and choosing to see the light that filters through, no matter how faint. It is about recognizing that light and dark, joy and sorrow, success and failure are all part of the same tapestry, each thread contributing to the richness and depth of our life. In embracing this holistic approach, we find a balance that honors both our humanity and our aspirations. We allow ourselves to feel deeply, to live fully, and to engage authentically with the world around us. We acknowledge our vulnerabilities, our fears, and our doubts, and in doing so, we discover the strength that lies in our resilience, the courage that emerges from our compassion, and the wisdom that is born of our experience. Let us not shy away from the challenges that life presents, nor from the emotions that accompany them. Let us not use positivity as a mask to hide our true selves or as a barrier to shield us from the realities of life. Instead, let us use it as a beacon guiding us through the storms, helping us to navigate the rocky terrain, and reminding us that even in the midst of adversity, there is always the potential for growth, for beauty, and for renewal. In the end, the true essence of positive thinking is not about living a life free from pain or hardship. It is about cultivating a mindset that allows us to find hope in the midst of despair, to discover strength in our struggles, and to create meaning from our experiences. It is about embracing the full spectrum of life with all its complexities and choosing to see the beauty in it all. So let us move forward with this understanding, carrying with us the knowledge that positivity is not a denial of our humanity, but an affirmation of it. It is a way of living that honors our capacity for growth, our ability to find light in the darkest of places, and our yielding spirit that continues to reach for the sky, no matter how rocky the ground beneath us may be. And in this we find the most profound impact of all, that by embracing the full reality of life, we not only live more fully ourselves, but we also inspire others to do the same. We become beacons of hope, not because we deny the darkness, but because we have learned to navigate through it with grace, with resilience, and with an unwavering belief in the possibility of light.